Hello, I'm Maddie Harvey. This is a video tutorial to accompany my Quiescence Shawl pattern. This is a little sample that I've knitted up. The yarn that I've used for the pattern is Northium fingering weight yarn from Kettle Yarn Co, and this particular lovely green colour is called Samphire. And the pattern, the shawl pattern, has this gorgeous slip stitch patterning, which is inspired by the idea of quiescence, which is basically when a seed or a bulb is asleep over the winter and getting ready to germinate and grow. So you can see that the pattern is growing as you move up the shawl. So I want to show you some of the stitches that are involved in making this, including how to do the little travelling stitches, which is really a little cable. Travelling stitches are where you've got this sort of stocking stitch on the background of, well, in this case it's garter stitch, but it could be in reverse stocking stitch. So it is a kind of cable, but it's slightly different because you don't really see the other stitches that are involved in the cable. You just see this one travelling across. So I have cast on the start of the shawl here, and I have added in a marker. So every time you start a new one of these slip stitch columns, you need to add in a marker, and it tells you that in the pattern. So I'm just going to work along and show you how to do the knit yarn over knit stitch, which is a little increase that happens here, and that's what helps create the start of this little seed motif here. So there's a wee increase here. Okay. So the edge stitches for this pattern are all slipped with the yarn in front, and then move the yarn between the needles to the back before you start working. So slip the first one, knit one, yarn over, knit one, and then I need to put in a new marker for the new column of slip stitches. And then I'm knitting along. And then I'm doing this knit yarn over knit into the same stitch. So knit the stitch, and then don't take it off the needles, but make a yarn over. So bring the yarn to the front, and then when I make the next stitch, that sort of completes the yarn over. So knit it again, and now I had one stitch and I've got three. Just do it again. So you knit, don't take the old stitch off, come to the front to make a yarn over, so when you knit the next stitch the yarn over gets completed. Another yarn, another knit, and you've got three stitches where you had one. Okay, I'm just going to work the wrong side row, and then I'll be ready to show you how to do these travelling stitches easily without a cable. Okay, so I've reached the point where I need to work the 1 by 1 right leaning cable or travelling stitch, and I can do that with a cable needle, but actually because it's just 2 stitches, there's an easy way to do it without the cable needle, and you should find this a bit quicker, and also it means that you wouldn't have a cable needle that could get lost, or you know, goes down the side of the sofa, or you put it behind your ear and then you can't remember where you've put it. So here we go. So we're going to knit into the second stitch first, okay, but don't take the stitches off the left hand needle, and then knit into the first one, and then move them both over onto the right hand needle. Now you can't quite see it yet. When you've worked the wrong side row it'll be clearer, but can you see there that they've swapped places? Okay, and then I can just carry on with the rest of my row here. So I'm just going to show you once again how to do the 1 by 1 right leaning cable without a cable needle. So you go into the second stitch on the needle, knit it, but leave the stitches where they are on the left there. Go into the first stitch, knit it, and then you can take them both off and you'll see that they've swapped places. So now I've completed the sort of right leaning part of the little motif, and I've got a little eyelet here, and now it's time for the travelling stitch to go work its way back across to meet this vertical column here. I've also got to the point where I'm adding another marker here, because this is going to be another slip stitch column emerging there. So as the shawl's growing, you're getting more and more of these vertical columns, and then you'll get more of these little seed motifs as the shawl grows. Okay, so I'll just work along to the point where I'm going to do the travelling stitch cable, or this time it's going to be a left leaning one. So as before, I'm going to knit the stitches in a different order from how they are on the needles. So this means I don't need a cable needle or anything. So before I knitted, to get the right leaning 1 by 1 cable, I knitted the second stitch first from through the front. So this time we're going for a left leaning cable. So I'm actually going to go from the back of the work and knit through that second stitch from the back. So put my yarn around the needle and pull through that loop, and then I'm going to knit the first one through the front, and then can you see there that they have swapped places and it's starting to lean towards the left. Okay, so I'm just going to show you that again. So from the back of the work, you're going to knit the second stitch first, which is a little bit like, you know, when you do a knit front and back, when you're doing the knit through the back loop. So you want to do that through the back and bring through the loop of the stitch back to the front again, and then go through the first stitch and knit that, and then you can take the stitches off, and there you can see that it's moving over to the left and the stitches have swapped place. The other technique that I wanted to show you that's in this shawl is some very simple short rows at the end of the shawl, just to sort of elongate the shape of it to make it more wearable. So what you do is you knit along to get to the point where you're going to do something called a wrap and turn, and that just means that you don't get any little gaps where you've turned. A short row is really where you've just knitted along, you haven't gone right to the end of the row, you've not completed the row, you've done a short row. So I've just knitted along here and just picked a random place really. So you're going to stop and turn the work and then work back again. So I've done a short row, I've not gone all the way along. And so to stop there being a hole where you've just turned and started working back again, you're going to do this wrap and turn. Do the wrap and turn, bring your yarn to the front of your work, slip the next stitch over, and then put the yarn back to the back, turn the work, then slip the stitch back again and bring the work round to the back, because you're going to be knitting again now, you need the yarn to be at the back. So you can see there that the yarn has gone around the bottom of that stitch. Can you see that? So it's literally wrapped it, okay? And because this is a garter stitch, that little wrap will just end up looking like one of the little garter bumps. So you don't need to do anything with that little wrap. Sometimes if you're working in stocking stitch, you have to pick up the wrap and knit it. We don't need to do that because it's in garter stitch. So I'll just show you once more. So you get to the point where you want to turn, bring the yarn to the front, slip the stitch over, and you're going to start wrapping it around. So bring the yarn to the back, so it's wrapping around the base of this stitch. Slip that stitch back across, okay, and then turn the work, and then bring the yarn round to the back so that the stitch is totally wrapped. and then you can work back again. This yarn is such a lovely bright green, but it's really playing with the light here, but hopefully that's enough so you can see. And when you look on the other side, you probably won't notice where the wrap and turn has been. You can maybe see a slight little double stitch there, but it's not very noticeable. So I hope that has helped with a couple of the special features of this design. If you would like more information, you can find that on my website. Thank you. Bye.